this episode, I want to discuss a chi-square test of independence. Now, there are two types of chi-squares, a goodness of fit and a test of independence. So what's the difference? Well, a goodness of fit chi-square involves only one independent variable, so it generates a 1 by n table. A test of independence, on the other hand, has more than one independent variable, so it works off of a columns by row table. In both cases, chi-squares only use counts placed in categories, which means that they involve only whole numbers. As an example, we're going to look at whether snuck instead of sneaked is an Americanism. In order to do so, I've got counts from both the British National Corpus and the Corpus of Contemporary American English. The independent variables here are word, snuck versus sneaked, and country, US versus Great Britain. And here are the results. You'll notice that there are a lot more instances in the US, and that's because it comes from a corpus of 1 billion words, where the BNC is only 100 million words. Here's what the data look like in a Jamovi spreadsheet. In order to do the analysis, you choose frequencies, independent samples, chi-square test of association. Put the variables in the appropriate boxes and make sure that expected counts is checked. What we see is that there is a significant difference. But what about effect size? We can determine the effect size by calculating a Kramer's V according to this formula. Kramer's V ranges between 0 and 1, so our effect size 0.0217 is very small. How can we report these results? Well, we put our degrees of freedom in parentheses after chi-square, include our chi-square value and our p-value, and then report our effect size, or Kramer's V. So there is a significant difference, but what does that mean? In order to do a little bit of interpretation, we need to look at the observed and expected outcomes. In the US, you'll notice that for snuck, the observed is greater than the expected. In the UK, the observed value for snuck is smaller than the expected value. So what we can conclude is that snuck is more common in the US. Now let's look at sneaked. In the US, the observed value of sneaked is smaller than the expected value, and the opposite is true in the UK, where the observed value for sneaked is larger than the expected value for sneaked. So we can conclude that sneaked is more common in the UK. I'll discuss more statistical analyses in upcoming episodes.